It is known that the whole earth is full of His glory. This is what every person should believe. As it is written, I fill the heaven and the earth. However, the Creator has made the concealment so that we cannot see Him. So is to have room for choice. And then there is room for faith. To believe that the Creator fills all the worlds and encompasses all the worlds. After a person engages in Torah and mitzvot and keeps the commandment of choice, the Creator reveals Himself to him, and then he sees that the Creator is the ruler of the world. Turns out, then the person makes the king to dominate him, meaning the person feels the Creator is the ruler of the world. Then it means that person makes the Lord the king. Friends, in the first part of the lesson, we will learn from a lesson by Rav Laitman from the date of September 30, 2021 based on the Shammai article. Shammai 10. What is hurry or run away? My beloved in the work. Hello. We are reading from the writings. The Salam Shammai article Shammai 10. What is hurry, my beloved in the work? You'll find the study material on our website and in the Arvud system, and selected questions will be asked during the lesson. As part of our repeating going over the articles of Shamarti, we're going over the articles that Habash wrote when he heard, as he writes, I heard Shamarti. So we're going over them. So yes, please. What is her, my beloved in the work? We should know that when one begins to walk on a path of wanting to come to do everything for the sake of the Creator, he comes to a state of sense and descends. Sometimes he comes to such great decline that he has thoughts of escaping Jur and mitzvot commandments, meaning thoughts come to a person that he has no desire to be in the domain of holiness. In that state, one should believe that it is to the contrary, meaning that it is the kasher that runs away from him. The reason is that when one wants to blemish the moves forward and runs away from him first, one believes this and overcomes during the escape. Then the escape becomes bless. As it is written, bless the Lord his strength, and accept the work of his hands. We'll read it again. We should know. What is hurry, my beloved in the work? We should know that when one begins to walk on a path of wanting to come to do everything for the sake of the Creator, he comes to states of ascents and descents. Sometimes he comes to such great decline that he has thoughts of escaping Torah and mitzvot, meaning thoughts come to a person that he has no desire to be in the domain of holiness. In that state one should believe that it is to the contrary, meaning that it is the kasher that runs away from him. The reason is that when one wants to blemish, moves forward and runs away from him first, if one believes this and overcomes during the escape, then the escape becomes bless. As it is written, bless the Lord his strength and accept the work of his hands. We see it in our life that in each one there are states when we want to run away, quit, move away, take some distance, and it's given to us directly from above to show us so that we will learn from those states, just like we move away from a child that we put him in front of us so he can learn to walk, and then we move away from him, and then he doesn't know what to do. He cries, but he has no choice. So he has to take a step forward. And that's how the Creator does it. He wants us to be able to stand on our own 2 feet and move forward and walk on both legs on the left as well, which rejects. And yet a person will understand that it is for his benefit and he will advance. This is why all the rejections we feel in our lives, there is never anything in them. We never get a rejection in our lives to get off the path, but only to advance. And what's required of us is only to overcome even more and add some more strength. Make another effort and not forget that that's how the Creator teaches us to walk. And the group must constantly be as an envelope, the right environment to keep a person from forgetting that precisely in this way we advance on both legs, and it's impossible to do it on one leg. So everything comes from above, and Everything comes only in order to promote us. The states might be the worst possible states as they seem to us, but they are nevertheless in order to progress. Of course, there's always a possibility to turn every situation to a better one, a more advanced one, if we chose in all those states not to be in more pleasant states, but in more instrumental, more beneficial for progressing toward the purpose of creation, then we would see that we always have only according to that we need to advance only in this direction. The Creator always leaves this path for us to rise above the ego and advance toward the goal. PT 6. If the Creator gives you states that are comfortable and pleasant to the ego, should you agree with it? Agreeing or disagreeing is already your decision. But the fact that the Creator gives it, that's correct. Everything comes from Him. He can give it to you directly, or perhaps when He moves away. My beloved is like a gazelle, and then a person has to decipher the situation correctly. Understand what is required of him. That's it. And of course, we should try to understand everything, not in our ego in the will to receive, in enjoying for ourselves, but as much as possible by rising above ourselves and deciding in a manner that is independent of ourselves. Yes, why is he right that he blemishes the kasher specifically when we feel the feeling of moving away or declining? Because there's no such thing as moving away, moving farther. The fact that it seems to us like we're moving further, and we accept what appears to us as truth, it is a transgression because we were advancing only toward corrections. We increase holiness, not decrease it, and if we increase it on the left side, then we have to understand that it's precisely by the Creator opening up to us a little more of our will to receive, and we feel ourselves as heavier, more fallen, more dissatisfied, etc. But it is advancement on the left side so that we can overcome it on the right side, and that's how we walk on both legs. So identifying we're heavier is possible to feel, but also to decipher what we want from that state. How can you decipher it correctly? When I always want to advance, I always have to choose that I want to advance toward bestow and connection. And if now I see that I want it less or don't want it at all, I reject it, is a sign that the Creator has clarified, showed me a little more of my left line, and I've got something to work on the importance of the importance of connection. So, now I need to be incorporated in the society even more and through it receive the strength. So, what gives us that inversion of thought? When specifically, the faith, the belief that it runs away from a person, not the other way around. That's the problem. It seems to us like the holiness is running away from me, and I have to understand it correctly. That the fact that, and a little more egoistic desire, appeared in me than before. It's I who seemingly grew further from holiness. When a friend leaves the group, that stop advancing and he causes the fall of his friends. When a friend leaves a group, he leaves because he doesn't feel connection to the group. He's got complaints. He's got grievances against me, against the group, against all of the whole world, and against the Creator. And he is the only one who is right. That's clear to us. That's that the ego came and kind of overpowered him in such a way that he could receive from us the strength, the powers, but he doesn't want it. He feels smarter, greater than us. And usually a man's pride destroys him, so much so that he is buried under his will to receive and dies spiritually. It happens to a lot of people. And this is how they quit, how they drop out. Maybe they're not aware of what is happening to them. On the contrary, they think they're right, and they finally discover the truth. And that in general, how could they go into such a society that talks about such abstract things? Oh well, this is how it happens. I spoke about it with Abash as well, because there were such incidents, and he said, of course, usually, in all the religions and belief systems, the disciples have the highest respect to the teacher, to the path, but there was no left line. There no criticism. No increase intensification of the ego. Every step of the way. Whereas in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we are advancing on both legs because we want as it is written, and you will be as God knowing good and evil. And therefore, only in the wisdom of Kabbalah does it happen that a disciple disagrees, or even hates the teacher, etc. Because basically, he is taught to be on a level where he is advancing and approaching the upper force. He has to know it, understand it, and it's not, for the time being, it's not suitable for each and everyone. So, when a person comes into our group, and he is completely unsuitable for it, unsuitable, he is suitable for the time being to walk around there on the street with all kinds of methods that are out there, but not ours. We come to understanding and recognition of the upper force, how it behaves with us, how we behave with it. This is already only for special people, but for regular people, they're incapable of it. They need to simply learn what they need to do in a corporeal worldly way with their hands and legs and mouth, how to pray, how to do all kinds of things. And this finished their lives. Yeah, that's why people who come to us, into our group, by chance, and we have many such people because we're open to everyone. So there are also those who discover, after some time, that it's not right for them, or they are not right for us, or we are not right for them, or they are not right for us, and they quit. And it's not a question of the intellect. They can be smart. Depends on the preparation of the heart, the preparation of the soul. If they are willing to go against their ego, to rise above the two forces of nature, in order to connect them together to the one source, to the Creator, the good and the bad, then they can advance with us. But if they're unable to, they don't have the patience, they don't have the intellect, the right intellect or the right feeling, to connect together the good and the bad to a singular force, then they leave, normally, because they're dissatisfied with us. They hate me, etc. It's natural. It is natural. Because, how can they agree with us, much less love us, when we show them only that the road is difficult, and you have to constantly annul themselves and relinquish themselves. So how can they love it? How can they agree? This is why Kabbalists, until recently, concealed this method. Because it's not suitable for the general public. We too don't really circulate to everyone, and even if we do circulate here and there, you see that very few come, and of those who come, many leave. For the time being, this is the number of people that can hear the truth, but mainly realize it on themselves. That's it. No. Can I make his question more precise? He's asking if the friends that are stay in the group, do they get hurt from the action of the friend leaving? No, they need to talk among themselves in order to get stronger. And this actually makes him stronger. In other words, the one who left, let him leave. Good luck to him in his regular life. We are moving on. And I think that our world is showing us, from day to day, that there's nothing much to look for in this world. What does a person who leave gain? I can't say. Neither money, nor respect, nor power await him there. Nothing. It's just that he doesn't want to adopt what nature, meaning the width of Kabbalah, tells him. Nature wants to open up to him possibilities and opportunities to really see nature correctly, to take both forces of nature, the plus and the minus, and combine them into a middle line, which is basically the method of Kabbalah, and to do it, but not outside of ourselves, but to do it within us, to ourselves, calibrate ourselves, arrange ourselves, organize ourselves within like the rest of nature, with right, left, and middle, 3 lines, the force of reception, the force of bestow, and the right combination between them. And then, a person comes to a state where he sees, understands, and feels all of reality, above time and space and motion and all the limitations of a singular egoistic line, and also above the altruistic line in which there are no measurements because it just opens and gives everything. Here there has to be a combination between the two lines, and because only through both are we standing on the road in the middle between the two lines, and we can bestow and measure the former, bestow and in this way in degrees we attain the Creator more and more. What does it mean that a person wants to blemish the Luther holiness? How can I blemish the Creator? There are all kinds of things that we seemingly don't want disagree. We can't blemish really. Holiness, the force of the stall, you can't. It's impossible because we receive everything from their person is operated from their 100%. But he has his own desire as if he wants to blemish, as if he wants to put a flaw in the Creator. So it seems to him like he can somehow connect. If he didn't succeed in the positive way, then in a negative way he will succeed. I'm saying it's impossible because holiness determines all of our states, including this state when a person wants to blemish it. That too it determines. But it's all with respect to the individual only. So I really feel sorry for those people who leave and curse notice us and are dissatisfied with us. They're unaware of how they're only growing further away from this path of approaching the Creator, which eventually everyone will walk on nonetheless, but they will be the last if they continue in this way. Turkey 2. Dear and friends, a question from 10. How can I pray in 10 to the Creator when I am full while our desire ends? You are also a great asset to your society when you fall because now you are forming the lift line. Now you are the will to receive that has been revealed for the first time after the breaking in you. And if you join the group with this will to receive in the same direction where everyone is going, then you're adding to the material substance, and the light they'll receive from above on top of that substance will give everyone the ability to advance. Our whole progress is on two legs. So now you're activating the left line with your ego, with your will to your big new will to receive, which the Creator revealed, and the group helps by adding the right to it, and in this way each one brings to the group his own will to receive, egoistic will to receive, and the group helps him balance this desire, and in this way everyone advances on both legs. So you needn't be ashamed or regret a new desire being revealed. As Sam writes, I'm happy with the wicked being revealed, with those thoughts, with those egoistic thoughts and desires when they are revealed. You should be happy because this is the foundation, the basis of our advancement. Okay. Shall tell Aviv 3. Friends, hello. Is there such a thing as something happening coincidentally? Nothing happens by chance. By chance or coincidentally means you don't understand the cause and consequence. So it seems to you like it's chance. You said by chance. So I'm asking. Well, yes. From our perspective, it's chance. Chance means you don't see the reason. That's why we call it chance. Person receives a descent. He feels it comes from the Creator. He comes to the group. He makes different actions. He asks the Creator to rise above the descent. Why the descent actually grows stronger, that descent. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Of course not. The more we rise toward the goal, the purpose of creation, the more we are equipped with greater desires to receive cruel ones. As it is written, he who is greater than anyone who is greater than his friend, his inclination, is greater than him. And we correct the evil inclination, the bad desire, and that's how we rise. How can we rise? How can we climb if not on a mountain, which is those broken desires that we have from the sin of the tree of knowledge? When the system broke, when the Creator broke the system, created and broke it. And now we have a place to work and correct it. Speaking of that state of the descent, for I got a descent, but it continues to get stronger in that same state. It's a sign that you haven't managed to correct it. You have to be incorporated in the 10, some more with that same descent, and try By incorporating in everyone turn this descent into an ascent. That's it. How do we advance? How do we advance from we fell, we rose, we fell deeper, we rise higher, and so on until he was greater than his friend. His inclination is greater than him. And that's how we rise until we rise to the end of correction. That's it. This is why we need to get stronger and stronger in the group in order to be able to rise and determine those degrees of ascent. And as less as possible remain in the time of descent. That's it. Our whole work should be like that. No. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. A person tries to do anything he can during this descent. But in truth, he fails. It's a sign. If he did everything he could, as you say, but which I'm not sure is true, but if he did everything he could, but he couldn't, it's a situation where the Creator shows him that besides a person's own efforts to connect to the friends, a prayer to the Creator is missing. There are two things here. Here he needs to come into contact. Let's mark. It has connection. Connection with a group. With the group. But besides the connection with the group, he also needs to, in order to rise to ascend, he also needs help from above. He needs to get help from above. In order to get help from above, he needs to, during the descent, he needs to raise money so as to receive in return from above and downwards. And then he will have the powers to ascend. We need to do all those things. If you're not in the group, if you can't raise mud together with the group, then you won't receive mud and then you won't be able to rise. So, you leave that state, meaning you leave. It's as if you're going back to your previous state, to here, but you don't rise to the proper state because you haven't connected to the group. This failure doesn't bring a person to prayer, but to more frustration and grievances, because he remains in his will to receive and is dissatisfied with his state, and he weighs everything with his ego and doesn't want anything else. Where is what I deserve? Why aren't you giving me? And then he gets angry with me, with the group, with the Creator, and that's it. And instead of what? Instead of thinking and calculating why it is happening to him, because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. So how does he change the thought as we read in the excerpts? Not that everyone is wicked, and because he leaves the lesson and doesn't want to remember anything he learned and doesn't want to implement it, but just like that, whatever he heard. It's as if it has nothing to do with him. What's important is what I have. Me, that's what's important. And he can't position what he hears against his ego. That in the end he has to work with his ego. And then he needs to add in this more and more each day. He doesn't have it if he doesn't want it. So I'm asking how this inversion takes place. This inversion of thinking as if he tried everything, he can't come up with a prayer. He's frustrated. How? From here, he comes to a place where he blames himself. From what is he frustrated from? What? So he wants to climb. He wants to connect. Oh, he wants to ascend, to rise. If he wants to ascend, he should get on an elevator and go up. Rising for us means connecting to the group and turn into the Creator. You have to get into the elevator, meaning you get into the group and turn to the Creator, and he elevates you, but not you, but everyone, is the laws of nature. It's not going to help you if you agree or disagree. These laws are absolute laws. If you want to advance, learn them and keep them. If you don't study them in order to do them and practice the laws of nature, then it's not going to help. The Creator will not change anything. You won't be able to defeat him by not wanting to do what he determined in nature, and because of you, he will change the laws of nature. This did not happen, and it will not happen, because the Creator himself is nature. Question is this. We know there are simple falls and there are hard falls. When pride is revealed, sometimes a person feels it inside of him in a kind of a very clearly stands out. So I want to ask, how can a 10 keep the person, protect him? Meaning, how can a 10 run ahead of a person, proceed every friend and build such a connection that can soften it? How can you need to speak in the group about all possible events like that? Then we must talk about them. We must discuss them. Speaking Russian, we need to speak in the group about such states, and we need to, let alone give explanations to each one, that this can happen with us and why should we even get into such states. Let's, even before we enter such states, let us play as if we're in such states and we come out of them. The main thing is to come out of them. That's it. Like we do in our life. It's recommended to imagine, to depict how much we can be in our position. Let's talk about it in the group and also at the same time in the same place. Let us discuss how we're coming out of such states. So all those things will pass over us in potential and not in practice. This is the whole point of learning something. Let's do it. Do it this way. Don't hide it or anything. There are many states that you don't wish to discuss. You think there's nothing to talk about. No, you have to talk about all kinds of spiritual states that can happen to each one and to the group as a whole. Then you'll be able to advance quickly. So try everything. Do you think there was room for some toughness in the 10 toward friends, to be harsh on them? Sometimes it seems helpful, or should we always yearn for some? No. You need both. You need both. We advance in 3 lines in everything, and also towards each and every friend. There's one line, soft right left line, which is judgment, calculation, and ultimately we should get the middle line. French, running away from Torah and commandments. Is it should we always place conditions to the Creator for prayer? I'm asking because I want to know about this. To run away from, what does it mean? Commandments are all the actions that we do in order to attain the force of bestow. When I try to connect with the friends, let's say love your friend as yourself. This is a great rule of the Torah, and if I make all my actions in the direction of connection with the others, then it's a rule. It includes all of the Torah. What do I do by that? I make efforts and connection because that brings me to the correction of the vessel of which is all our life, our history, everything we need to attain. So by doing these actions, I invite the reforming light called Torah, because the light in it reforms, and then through various actions of bestow that I awaken. Although I can't do them, but I want them to happen, then I have the following: an action in my will to receive. I want to do something like a child, but of course I fail. However, I try, because the result of my efforts, I get the upper force, close to some extent in my action of connection, of coming closer to the group. And then time after time, we come closer, and then turns out that through my efforts to connect, and through with the reforming light that appears on my efforts, we come to connection. This, the meaning of keeping Torah, and that's it. What is that great rule of the Torah? The rule that includes everything is love your friend as yourself. When we come to such a state, that's it. And there really is a feeling of a cloud, and that kind of landed on us lately. It's as if on the one hand you can come to the group and do things increase, importance change, moods, and get through this situation, but the question is, how do you really use it? How do you respond to it correctly? And not just go through it, change the situation, but how do you really make use of it for the right spiritual work? The right spiritual work we can do now, after everything we've gone through in the last month also in the last Congress. It's when we understand this before us a new period, which is the entrance in practice to Ibu. What does it mean to enter the Iber? Practice, it's entering. The connection between us and practice in each and every 10. We're here. We're feeling the connection between us. One force. The Creator, and we'll feel Him with the force of our desire, where each one of us is willing to give up his I in order to be connected with the others, and to feel the force that unites us. The Creator. This is the beginning of Ibu conception. That's how we need to see the state before us. Now we need to start working with it in practice. Again, I'm saying it again, connect between us. So to some extent we'll be in one desire which is entirely aimed at the Creator, like toward the host, and he wants to receive from the host what the host wants to give. And the first portion we will receive from the host in this way, not because we want it, but because we want to delight him. The first portion is called the attainment of the spiritual world, the spiritual state. This is what we have to do now. Internet. So question from PT30. You said before that we needn't pleasant state, but beneficial state. What's the difference between a beneficial state and a pleasant state? I position myself, I prepare myself to decipher, to consider, evaluate, discuss each and every state according to how much it advances me towards the goal, and not according to how pleasant it feels to me in my feelings. Of course, there's a limit to how much I can tolerate, how much my ego can tolerate and suffer, how much harm I can do to my ego. But nevertheless, we need to see ourselves and advance in this way. Another question from both Ditri in MAC 25 and a student from Tel Aviv. What characterizes a descent, and what characterizes innocent? Is a descent only the will to receive? A descent is when I don't appreciate or value actions of bestow as before, and assent is when I appreciate acts of bestow more than actions of reception, and as they come to me and I prefer to be in them. How do we calibrate the forces between us for spiritual attainment? How to calibrate the forces for spiritual attainment? It's only according to how I can attach them to the 10 with my friends, because then their direction is correct and they're capable of acting and attaining the result. If I'm working outside of the group, not physically of course, but rather the entire group, I can be more united. Then I have no chance of succeeding in anything. On the contrary, I will bring harm to myself if I think of myself individually, discreetly. Are there clear signs of the correct work between us? What can be clearer than if you are inside the group? Oh, of course there aren't. Only in the group can you scrutinize these things. Bend over before the group, bow down, try to incorporate in them without any reason, any intellect. That's your opportunity. And one who becomes smarter, wiser. Look what people who leave say. They look down at the 10. That's everything starts from that, looking down at the 10 and looking down at the Creator. That's it. They come out, they fall. If you feel in your 10 that all the friends are in a descent, that they are tired, it's difficult for them, how can you try to help them come out of that state? There's no tiredness in spirituality. If you feel in a placement of spirit, if you are connected with the goal, and that could be through the 10 of course, then there's no such thing as tiredness or fatigue. You should interpret correctly. What does it mean when you are tired? People feel in a descent. You see that it's difficult for them. They are innocent. They don't have high spirits. It's because they fell from the appreciation of the greatness of the Creator and the greatness of the group. I'm not saying you shouldn't rest, but after a short rest, you need to earn material, and through it you need to rebuild the appreciation for the group. No, can I ask as well? I wanted to know, what is incorporation? What is performing an act of bestow in the group, when we help one another to not fall from the appreciation of spirituality. So spirituality will be important in the eyes of each and every friend, as much as possible. What is spirituality? Spirituality, the greatness of the Creator, the greatness of the group, greatness of the teacher, the greatness of the entire vessel of Nib, where we all see ourselves as having to be connected and leading humanity to the goal towards adhesion with the Creator. There is a lot of spirituality in me, as you said, but in the last Congress, I couldn't listen to you. I couldn't be in the group, in congresses, in this virtual time that we're in. There is such rejection in me, such resistance in me that I can't be in these congresses. Good. This is very, very nice that you say it, and before everyone we can learn from it. There are many people who perhaps feel like you. First of all, you may not feel that you have an opportunity to be incorporated with a great audience that's drawn toward the purpose of creation. They're lacking the appreciation of this great audience who are all without exception parts of your soul. Do you hear me? They are parts of your soul. Such parts, all of humanity, all of them are parts of your soul. But those you see before you, people of that you see before you during the Congress who want to connect, these are the parts that are most advanced of all, the parts of your soul, because after the sin if we're all mixed together with one another, by the reforming, the light, the souls that the more special souls, the ones that are closer to the light, they come up for correction first. Therefore you have to appreciate those people who come to us or together with us, and that together with you they can rise, they can ascend towards you. There are parts of your soul you. In your soul is the first one is the Ket, and all the other parts are the remaining. So go ahead, respect them. You need to love them, because through this love you seemingly include them together. You connect them to you and then you put together your soul. Put it back together in the correct form. Thank you very much. It's a shame, and it's a shame. It's an even greater shame that anyone who doesn't do it, understand it, is not attracted to it. Eventually he falls off. He drops off. He leaves. I was very close to it. Yeah, I understand. That's why I'm answering you. But the truth is that the group, my desire to be incorporated in the France drew me to the group once more. It wouldn't let me. This is called help from above. And you have to be grateful to the Creator that He gave me such friends, perhaps that He gave them desire to treat you nicer. But ultimately you need to give thanks to the Creator and to the group that you stayed on the path. Otherwise you would have left and certainly moved farther and farther away. Sometimes in a descent, there's a feeling that because I'm in a descent, I'm harming the society, doing harm. I'm not speaking of raising importance. So in such a state should I quit for some time and return when I come down? First of all, the group has to be a group for life, and we need to see it a system that never disperses and never separates in its parts. That's one thing. Second thing is that when each one is going through ascents and descents, we see it throughout the entire writings of Kabbalists. We see because we're learning those materials so many times. One time, one friend drills a hole in the boat, and then a second one drills a hole there. First one corrects himself, and he brings himself back to ensure he's not drilling a hole. Each one is going through many states. We need to include these states with us, because none is wise as the experienced, and in advance in this way. So there's no such thing as a person leaving. It says about it anything but leave. You can do anything but leave. When you leave back into the beastly life. You descend from spiritual degree, however much you've had, but you had some of it, but you're coming back down to the corporeal world. To continue what the great friends asked, if a student holds until there's none else besides him, and maybe he's angry with, and with the whole world clee, and with the group, and he tells himself, as Kabbalists teach us, that the Creator gave him that thought to be angry with all the such a person. Doesn't it make sense? It doesn't make sense that he should leave the group if he knows he got it from the Creator. Yeah, you know, but you understand, we never pressure a person. Ultimately, if he leaves and he says, I want to leave, I'm not suitable for you, you're not suitable for me, doesn't matter. The excuses don't matter really. Then, we don't do anything against it. Right? But this is work within reason. Meaning, if he's within reason, as in everything in our world, if he doesn't like a certain job, or if he studies something, so he quits. But if he presses on that place that gives him these thoughts, if we adopt it, isn't it a safer way to hang on and stay? Look, we can't obligate a person. What I'm saying, we cannot promise anything to him except for what he himself gains and succeeds within our group. The group relies or is founded on spiritual actions and attaining stolen connection. That's how we come to adhesion in the Creator, and that's it. The group was founded on the principle that it was given to every person, anyone in the world, as Balaam writes. Yellow, red, white, black, doesn't matter. Whom everyone can come to adhesion with the Creator, and that's why we are open to everyone. And more than that, we don't have any conditions. We accept everyone, and we advance together. I have nothing more to add. Consequently, we never limit anyone. Not with any corporal actions in nothing, only the heart. As much as you can correct your heart. Please, we're doing that, and we're willing to help you with that as well. Okay, Peter. Yes. The question is this. If a person studies Kabbalah for several months and afterwards leaves, that's clear. But if a person studies 10 years, he comes to lessons, he comes to congresses, he knows everything, how after 10 years can you quit if he already understands Kabbalah, everything is clear to him and he needs to make efforts on that. It says don't believe in yourself until the day you die, until the will to receive dies and you enter the spiritual world. You cannot be certain that you're even in contact with the truth, because you lack your first spiritual vessel, so you can still run away and there's nothing to keep you here. So when you're saying 10 years, it says nothing. Writes 10 years, 20 years, a person needs to toil and exert, and then he enters the spiritual force, then a spiritual force enters into him, rather, that's it. So, it's no wonder, and don't come to a state where you look at someone who's here for many years. The years mean nothing. They say nothing about a person. Latin 7. So please, Latin 7. Thank you. It's not quite clear to me, where is this point of decision of a person who is working? You spoke to us now for half an hour about the Creator doing all those things. So where is man's point of choice? Man's choice is there. But when do we get it to make a choice? When we are incorporated in the group, and if I leave the group, I have no choice. I'm under one desire, one egoistic desire, and only on the condition that I'm incorporated in the group, and on one side I have my ego, and on the other side I have the group. Then between those two tendencies, I know how does it work, and with whom, and how to pray to the Creator to help me to shine through me. And there, the point of choice is realized, as Balaam says, that you have to choose the right path, the path of truth. If you can, repeat the end of the question, please. Miguel, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. We can't hear you. Can hear you. Miguel is asking about the precise point of choice of a person. Should he choose between the group or his ego? Sam says, choose between the two. Of course, we are in this choice constantly. That's what the Creator arranged for us. So we have to constantly choose to adhere, to cling to the group, and that's how you bring ourselves back to the system of BT. There's no initiative to promote the 10, so there are voices for that it's worthwhile, and there are voices that say, there's no need, we can settle with what we have. The question is no, 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 no. What new initiative, what are you telling everyone? I didn't hear about any new initiative. What's the initiative? Yeah. For example, yesterday we thought about creating a vision for the 10. That's the initiative. I don't know what it is. The goal's where the 10 wants to be out. Wants to advance how the 10, where the 10 wants to be 6 months from now, for example. Okay. Let's say this. Yeah. So it's an initiative how to improve. So some people say that what we have now is enough. There's no point dealing with something else. And some say it's a good idea. It's worth doing it. I could discuss it. I'm not in it. I know only one thing. I have a morning lesson, and in the morning lesson I need to release a new portion to my students. What they do later and all the when they philosophize between them, I'm not responsible for that. The question is, what should the T focus on if it wants to accelerate its advancement? And what we see in the articles, we see in these articles such depth. We haven't even started to scratch. You think you understand? You heard it. My ear has gotten accustomed to hearing those words. The ear. Yeah. But the heart does not work according to the ear. And that's what we need to and worry about, how to make the heart work according to what we hear or what we read in the articles about. That should be the goal and the form of advancement. Unity 4. Okay. Unity 4. I'm asking your forgiveness, teacher. There's a different situation as a result of the growth of the egoism. All kinds of grievances toward the 10 appear, and he tries to move to another 10 where he'll feel more comfortable. How should we relate? Dear friends, now we will move on to a live lesson with Rob. Now let's sing together. Behind the curtains of the story told, behind the faces of the meek and bold, above the good and bad, the right and wrong, there's hope for a brighter dawn. We've learned to breathe without a breath of air. We've learned to ride on roads that lead nowhere. Now is the time for us to rise above and learn what it is to love. We open our hearts together. We will find, and we'll see that love can cover all the crimes. Open our hearts together. We will find, and we'll see how love will cover all the ground. Beyond the border there's a song that plays, and in our hands we have a choice that way. Together rising high above these lights, and see the world through your eyes. In every moment there's a chance to see another vision of what we could behind the colours of the shattered heart, the colour of unity. We open our hearts together. We will find, and we'll see that love cover all the crowns. Together we will find, and we'll see how love will cover all the heat. We are in a lesson on the topic of everything is obtained by the power of prayer. We will read selected excerpts from the sources, and we will start with Excerpt 11. The study materials are available in your system. You can also send us questions through the websites. Excerpt 11. Nash. There is no light without a clee, no filling without a lack. First one needs to obtain a deficiency. That is, he must feel that he is deficient of this clee called the desire to bestow. And concerning feeling, it is impossible to feel any lack if one does not know what is losing by not having the vessel called the desire to bestow. This reason men must introspect on what not having the desire to bestow causes him. To the extent of the loss he feels sorrow and suffering. When he has the true lack, meaning when he can already pray to the Creator from the bottom of the heart for not having the strength to be able to work for the sake of the Creator. Then when he has the vessel, meaning the true lack, this is the time when his prayer is answered, and he receives assistance from above. It is as our sages said, he who comes to purify is aided, or instead of preparation for quite some time. And we should delve also now in how we feel ourselves connected between ourselves and also with the Creator as all of that becomes one. What does it mean? 1. We will feel no change between what I think and know and understand and feel, and our entire world flee. So truly, it's all one. And in order to have that vessel, we need to organize our deficiency, as it's written. There's no light without a vessel of fulfillment, no filling without deficiency, and this deficiency to have contact with the Creator that I yearn toward Him. This deficiency is for me the main thing, great thing that grabs me, that fills me, rises in me, all of me, and we are only looking for Him. Where is He? We discover Him to such an extent that I will feel only a deficiency in that, a deficiency for contact with the Creator. That's it. And according to this deficiency, all kinds of words of prayer will awaken in me of my attitude toward contact with the Creator. And then according to the deficiency, the filling will come. The filling will be, the feeling will be revealed. The light is revealed only in the vessel that's ready for it on that level. But in each and every degree, there's a deficiency and there's a light. Deficiency and light, that's how we can advance from one degree to the next. Turkey, morning, was created with a will to receive. From where can he discover inside of him, or achieve a desire to bestow? That's what the Creator tells him. He tries to. Here he makes efforts in that direction. From that he gets the ability to listen and to hear. Friends, we have a rocket alarm, so broadcast will stop until we can get. We're reading from the preface to the Wisdom of Item 18. Then, what can I add? Let's move on. We are learning here the fundamentals. Technical fundamentals, if you can call it this way, for what's happening to us, because nevertheless the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's a wisdom because it speaks of the desire, the force, and forces are the foundation of a reality of nature. So, we have the force of reception and force of bestow, and everything that's happening between them. That said, the force of bestow is the first force, the force of reception is the second force that comes out as opposite to the force of bestow. And then, between these two forces, somehow through the resistance between them and the balance between them in the relationships exist all the forms of the will to receive can construct between them, play between them, arrange them. So let's keep learning what's happening with all of reality as a result of these two forces. Item 18. Now we shall explain the 5 in the Mach by which the levels change during the zoo performed with the upper light. We must thoroughly understand that even though was banned from being a vessel of reception for the tens after the Tim, and the rises from the Mach through the became the vessel of reception in, it said, must still accompany the with its power of reception. Had it not been for that, the would have been unfit to be a vessel of reception. We should also understand this from the allegory in item 15, demonstrated there that the power to reject and decline the meal became the vessel of reception instead of the hunger and appetite. This is because hunger and appetite, the usual vessels of reception, were banned from being vessels of reception in this case due to the shame and disgrace of receiving a gift from one's friend. Only the powers of rejection and refusal have become vessels of reception in their stead. As through the rejection and refusal, reception has been inverted into bestow, and through them he achieved vessels of reception suitable to receive one's friend's meal. Yet it cannot be said that he no longer needs the usual vessels of reception, namely the hunger and the appetite. But it is clear that without appetite for eating, he will not be able to satisfy his friend's wish and bring him contentment by eating at his place. The thing is that the hunger and appetite, which were banned in their usual form, have now been transformed by the forces of rejection and decline into a new form, reception in order to bestow. Thus the humiliation has become dignity. It turns out that the usual vessels of reception are still as active as ever, but have acquired a new form. He will also conclude concerning our matter that it is true that has been banned from being a clee or reception for the of the tense field because of its of you, meaning the difference of form from the giver which separates from the giver, yet through correcting the mass in which strikes the upper light and repels it, her previous faulty form has been transformed and acquired a new form, called, like the transformation of the form of reception into a form of bestow in the above allegory. The content of its initial form has not changed. It still does not eat without appetite. Similarly, all the which is the force of reception in has come inside the, hence the became suitable for being a vessel of reception. Therefore, we must always discern two forces in the mac. The first is cash hardness, which is the force within it that rejects the upper light. The second is of which is the measure of will to receive from included in the by the through the force of the in its has turned into zak, meaning reception is transformed into bestow. These two forces in the MS operate in 5, the forton and the root called ket. Okay. Only KV wants to ask. Ask, then we'll read it again. The force of rejection becomes a vessel of reception. How can that be? Because the created being, the guest, rejects, declines the host's offer. It allows him to later receive because he can calm his ego down, his shame. So later it turns out that he comes to such a level as the host who wishes to do him a favor and is presenting him with all the food. He doesn't have anything to give back to the host, nothing tangible at least, but he raises himself to such a level where he can do this favor to the host by receiving from him, meaning seemingly he refuses to eat and declines to eat, but is willing to do it because there's a deficiency to give in the house. And he, after the restriction and refusing to receive the meal, he now opens himself up, and he's willing to do this favor to the host. In other words, who's doing a greater favor to the other? It's the guest who's doing a favor to the host. Although in the beginning the host wanted to give to the guest, and he has what to give and is full of abundance and love for the guest and everything, and the guest has nothing in the beginning. Just like people in this world, they have nothing in relative to the host in this world. But because we feel there's a host, we begin to feel it. And he wants us to enter into a connection with him. And he's doing all kinds of actions. So we would relate to him, pay attention to him, do him a favor, advance, do. So it turns out that as a result of his love to us, we begin to derive forces from it, abilities, to perform actions relative to him. So whatever I receive from him, it will not be like reception. It would be as bestow. Look at a small child, a small baby, that his mother wants to give him a spoonful of porridge, or things like that. And what kind of pleasure he receives, and the more he receives, what kind of pleasure she feels that he's receiving from her. She feels inside of her that he's giving to her. He's actually giving her pleasure. Not a few grams of porridge that she's giving him, but he's giving her emotional pleasure that fills her. This is what we see. Meaning, although we are the ones who receive from the Creator, and we can receive from him all sorts of things. Even in this world, if I feel that I'm receiving everything in this world from the Creator, and I can raise myself to a degree where I'm grateful to him for that, we're already in contact with. This is what we later discover on the spiritual path. We will see that in truth the whole world is performing acts of bestow, except they're not aware of it, not conscious of it. And that's the difference between us and the whole world. We are conscious of the favor we're doing Creator. We enter into form of contact with him through equivalence of form, but in truth the whole world is doing that except without their knowledge. I discovered that I get something bitter, but if you know it from the creature, it as if becomes sweet. And then I want to ask, do we need to feel the initial taste in the mouth or always in the experiments? You should keep up your experiments and tell us about it later. I don't want to ruin for you. I don't want to spoil for you the revelation of all kinds of states. Brazil too. Yes. Hi Rob. Does the quality of the restriction and the importance and all these things we go through while restricting, does it carry over as a foundation to these new vessels? Yes. Yes. Only for that. So there's basically two actions here. There's a decision after the host employs the guest, and then there's the reception itself. Yes. PT22. Please tell us of the Mass and the Kosh. Are they in a direct relationship? There's a connection between them, and they always work together if it's the correct vessel then. Yet you the coarseness of the wool to receive, and the vessel has to be in equivalence, synchronized with the force of resistance to that desire in the coarseness, and this is called the screen. And specifically, he who's greater than his friend, his inclination is greater. The size is measured according to the screen, and the reflected light, and the desire is measured according to the coarseness, and they're equivalent. They're equivalent to one another. PD3. He writes that the hunger and appetite, which are the regular vessels of reception, were disqualified because of the shame of being a receiver of a gift from one's friend. Why is that called bestow if it comes from a sense of shame? And because he's building this, bestow thanks to them on top of them. You can't bestow from the feeling of hunger and appetite, but actually from the opposite forms to them. Yes, but why doesn't come from the sense of greatness of the Creator? No. First of all, there's hunger and appetite, corresponding to that he builds in the form of resistance to the hunger and appetite, because he wishes to create a form of bestow towards the Creator. From that he carries out the action. It's the same with us. How can he do it otherwise? In the first part, I heard that you said that we have to clarify whether I'm making actions of bestow towards the friends because I'm ashamed or due to the greatness of the Creator. Yeah. If it's because of shame, it's on the level of this rule. If it's because of the greatness of the Creator, then already I'm using the friends as a means to reach the Creator. Hence the question, how do you make this scrutiny? Either has to be clear to a person what motivates him. I'm in a group, and then what do I want? Either I want to arrange my relationship in the group only on that level, in the same in the same area, or I wish to rise above it. Use it as a means to rise to the Creator. This development of the greatness of the Creator in the person, which is now the reason for which he makes action before. For that he did that because of shame and other corporeal reasons. How does this transition happen? We spoke about it in the first part of the lesson that, although I feel myself wanting to perform a corporal act, I can imagine to myself that I wish to give contentment to the Creator, and consequently, instead of giving pleasure to my ego, filling it somehow, I will perform a different act. I will do something against my ego, an action that pleases the Creator, typically toward the 10 or towards our general vessel, towards dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah, or by that we disseminate the name of the Creator, a method for how to attain Him. And then I exchange one for the other, although I would have loved, in place of that, to just lie down and not move, just rest. So here, picking myself up, and I obligate myself to perform an act of bestow. And if I force myself in this action towards dissemination, the 10 and so on, and I see that it's because I feel unpleasant otherwise, or whatever, some egoistic corporeal calculation, how do I turn that in order to bestow to the Creator? If you know that before you there's an egoistic action, and you can exchange it with or rise above it by thinking about the greatness of the Creator and aiming it to Him, then this is already a spiritual action. But what do? I identify that it's because of shame or pride. What do I do? Now, what? Because of shame and pride. Because of shame, I come to the lesson on time. Because of pride, I go to disseminate. Because of egoistic calculations, how do I now redirect it in order to bestow to the Creator? Because of His greatness, that's not simple. Not simple. You need to raise the greatness of their friends. We're coming back to a live lesson with Rob. We're going to read excerpt number 11 again. 11 from Rabash's article. There's no light without the Kli. There's no filling without a lack. First, one needs to obtain a deficiency. That is, he must feel that he is deficient of this Kli called a desire to bestow. Concerning feeling, it is impossible to feel any lack if one does not know what he is losing by not having the Kli called desire to bestow. For this reason, man must introspect on what causes him not to have the desire to bestow, and to the extent of the loss he feels sorrow and suffering when he has the real lack, meaning when he can pray to the Creator from the bottom of the heart for not having the strength to be able to work for the sake of the Creator. Then when he has the Kli, meaning the real lack, this is the time when his prayer is answered and he receives assistance from above. It is as our sages said, he who comes to purify is aided. Okay, I don't see any questions from our audience. Please, foreign speech. No. Where's our translation? Translation is asking, a person comes with a desire to receive. How can he invert it to a desire to bestow? From having an attitude towards someone from his will to receive, he can change it to his will to bestow. Depends only on his preparation, his decision. Key 1. Yes, dear RV. You said that we are in the preparation, and we need to deepen in our preparation till we feel ourselves as one. And there's no difference between what I feel and what the world Kli feels. How to differentiate between what I feel and what the world clearly feels. When you come out of your egoistic wall to receive, and you only have your calculation with the Creator, in that case, you don't feel yourself as an individual, as single in anything. You feel yourself existing and powerful and able to do something for the world. Through that world, also the Creator feels that you want or what you wish for everyone. And it turns out that your relation to the whole world and your relation to the Creator become as one to one. The attitude that comes out of you, then everything comes to one unified common connection. Lithuania 1. Thank you, RV. We as a 10 think how to make our prayer. Should we change it or keep it as is? When every friend adds throughout the morning lesson some part of what he feels for the prayer, and then we compose our prayer for the others at this point, or maybe recommend some other style for prayer. We can once or twice a week, a private prayer from each one. Afterwards, you can discuss it. You can compare those prayers. It can bring them to this like one formula to this one purpose. It can help you advance. Mark 11. Please tell us. It is written in the article that our lack depends on the extent that we feel the loss from not having the desire to bestow. But if to begin with we didn't have such a desire, how can we feel it? If you want to feel it, if you want to bring it back, so then you'll be able to feel it. Then you'll feel it. You can awaken from within you that desire, and you'll want to implement it. Women Turkey. I heard you talking about the depth of the connection, the depth of the contact. What does a person need to do to attain this depth? And is the depth of connection with the Creator the same, like it is with the friends? The depth of the connection. We feel the depth of the connection to the extent that we're in it, and that measure. We can pass it back to the Creator. Then we'll be on that wave together with Him. at the same time. We as receivers and he as a giver. Let's keep going. We are on 12, right? The only way to obtain a deficiency that we are lacking the desire to bestow is by prayer, which is a medium between man and the deficiency. That is, one prays for the Creator to give him something for which he has no deficiency, that he will lack it. It follows. The is called deficiency is a deficiency with respect to the feeling, meaning that he does not feel its lack, and the prayer is that the Creator will give him the light, which is the filling of his lack. It therefore follows that the filling is a lack. Thus he has no other choice but to pray to the Creator to give him a deficiency. And this is what connects with the light. Okay. We have Women Turkey 7. In every state we go through, our lack changes. It grows. The question is, what's the action we need to do in order to add to the deficiency in every state? Ask again, please. How in every situation we go through does our deficiency change, and what is the action that we need to do for our deficiency to grow? The action is simple. Try and aim yourself to that same wave that we all have to go into. Then we can feel how the Creator is turning to us, and how he wants to send us his feeling, his knowing. When one cannot do the work, the lack is very clear. The question, how can we be so involved in the work that we still feel the lack clearly, not just when we don't succeed? That depends on as much as we take into consideration what the Creator wants to give us, what he's sending us. That's why it is worth it for us to constantly be in the feeling of our deficiency, to the words of the Creator, to what he wants to tell us, to the feeling of the Creator. Then it'll come. Moscow 7. Thank you, Raf. You gave an advice to do a personal prayer twice a week. What does that mean? That personal prayer. So we can compare it, analyze. It doesn't matter. Do as much as you can. Within a few days, we'll come back to connecting our waves, our hearts, and then we'll talk about it. Mark 17. What does a person lose in a vessel called desire to bestow? If a person doesn't have a desire to bestow, his desire is completely opposite of the Creator's desire, and then he can be in contact with the Creator. But if he has a desire to bestow, so he's directed to receive and to give back to the Creator. That's why it's worth it for us to think how we advance to the desire to bestow. PT 31. He writes, it looks like there's no other advice but to pray to the Creator to give him the lack, and by that he connects between the light and the vessel. How do we hold on in a state in which we're in a deficiency all the time? Because our nature wants a filling. That's correct. But I need to depict to myself that the feeling of a deficiency is the fulfillment. Then I feel myself full. Why? Because I prepare myself to a feeling to such a way that in it the Creator can be revealed, and then I can feel him, and this way I'll reach a state that I want him, and that'll be the vessel. Women Mock 43. Good morning, dear teacher. Can we say that the created being becomes similar to the Creator, not in the place where he receives, and not in the place where he bestows, but in the place where he is not capable of receiving or bestowing, and despair that thing that happens is something that happens not even in the light. If a person feels that he's not able not to receive or bestow, so it's worth it to annul himself and join the people in the group. Then with them, he can still in somewhat come closer to the Creator, and from that, he can also become the bestower. Yes. Another question. What's more important? What's deeper? Reception in order to bestow, or my suffering for my inability to bestow without receiving? Suffering ain't the purpose. We don't have such a desire to suffer. We have to try to be in a feeling of bestow to the Creator, and to receive from him everything he wants us to receive, and to bestow everything we think we can give him to pass to him. Thank you, Raf. You said that we need to be with the Creator on the same wave. What is that same wave that the Creator wants to pass on to us? to bestow to one another and to the Creator. And that's what we want to be in. Women. Good morning, Raf. Good morning, world. Question. When we ask all day long for the deficiency for bestow, and how do we feel that is bestow, that we have given sufficiently and we're not bothering the Creator from doing His work? That's the problem that bothers me all the time. We can depict to ourselves a mother who wants to bestow to a baby as much as she is happy that he from himself reveals a deficiency to what she prepared for him. In between them, there's nothing that closes off the connection. On the contrary, she's happy that she has a deficiency to give him, and that he has a deficiency to take to receive from her. Women PT 8. Thank you, Rab. I heard you said to try and aim ourselves to the same wave that we need to enter, all of us, and then we will feel what and how the Creator turns to us. How does the group aim itself to that circle? Is there a certain technique, listening inwards or writing or listening? How do we do it? We try to connect and be closer to the Creator. He becomes our address that we want to reach. And then it happens. Thank you. How is the place from which we raised the prayer connected to the prayer? Yesterday a friend of ours from some of the friends travelled to some place and we all raised a prayer and we all felt it. It's all supposed to be. I heard that there's no meaning of a certain place or the rocks, but they travelled to the mark of a certain righteous right. Righteous in the stages and felt it that way there over there. First of all, it's a special place. Second, you wanted it. You felt that moment. Your desires are uniting and not contradicting, but on the contrary, they're completing one another. If in that way you'll act with all of your desires, so you'll get a united desire, that inner, for sure you can influence the Creator. Off at the moment most of us are in a certain corporeal fear. Can you build a spiritual lack from a physical fear? Yes, of course you can. A corporeal fear has to awaken us to a spiritual fear that we, just as there's a negative spiritual feeling, we went through that to reach a positive spiritual feeling. So the feeling of a deficiency, the spiritual one will feel it, and through that we can also feel as much as we're lacking a vessel for it. Through that vessel, we will reach a spiritual deficiency, meaning that I will be lacking to connect with all the friends to one desire. Through that we can reach the Creator. Karn. Often, reception evokes shame, whether it's from the Creator or from the friends, and sometimes you just accept it as a given. What's more, in these desires, we're not in a state that we can say about some desire that we don't need it, or a state that we can have a better state. But we need to see always according to comparison. As much as a desire is stronger, it can pull us to the desire to bestow, and then we will succeed. Time New York 2. Can a person use a general deficiency like a general lack in the will to receive, and take this general deficiency and make it develop it towards a deficiency for bestow? First of all, he has to let go of that desire. Then he can receive the form of bestow from it. PT 35. Thank you very much, Har. Heard that it's very important to be in a constant lack for the feeling of the Creator. How do we constantly care for the feeling of a deficiency for the Creator? If all of us in the group, in my group, want to be directed towards the feeling of the Creator, so it's for sure that also me, also I am in it. Oh, so I will feel that it is lacking. How is this supposed to be expressed? In the connection between us, where we want to feel that lack in the 10, and each one will feel that he is lacking it. The main thing, if we can combine our deficiencies. Mark 25. Prayer for the deficiency and the connection with the Creator that we can hold on to. How is that connected? Even before the prayer, we can hold on to that. We don't let our deficiency fall, meaning forget, but we'll constantly be connected to it. So we'll be able to attain it, to realize it. Women Hebrew 1. Thank you, Rob. Sometimes there are states where a person came to a certain measure of connection and then he satiated. He feels a certain feeling. The question is how to renew the deficiency quickly. To renew a deficiency can be a big issue sometimes, a big problem. That we can't come out of a deficiency that we got. And we have to keep going in that way. What is good? If we do such exercises between us, between all the friends, that we receive some kind of direction and thought and calculation, and we all, everyone, receives support from him as a fulfillment, then in that force, filling our desires, we can work. Can I ask more? No, I have a lot of questions here. I heard you saying that we will feel ourselves connected also between us and also with the Creator, that everything becomes one. What's the meaning that everything becomes one? How is the connection with the friends and the Creator become one? That we overcome above our will to receive towards the desire to bestow, and we connect the desire to bestow of the Creator. And in this way we can incorporate each and every desire to bestow in reality. And towards that desire, we can aim it to bestow to the Creator. It's written that the only advice is to attain a lack that he is missing, to defeat to. So through prayer, why only through prayer can you attain the deficiency? For why not the morning lesson or dissemination? Why is the prayer the only means? Morning lesson or deficiency or dissemination isn't a deficiency on its own, they are actions. Prayer can be a cause, but it's already a degree, because the prayer itself comes out of the deficiency in a person, and if a person doesn't feel this deficiency is a prayer, that comes out of him to the Creator. So, for now, it doesn't really work. Women PT 23. At the beginning of the lesson, I heard you saying in each and every degree, there is a lack and light, a deficiency and light. And also in the example that you gave with the mother and the baby wants and the mummy is satisfied. That there's a feeling that the lack actually comes from the light, not from me. Does the Creator awaken or the deficiency? Yes, the Creator awakens. And that's what we're discussing. How we kind of awaken in the Creator a desire to bestow to us. So the deficiency that comes from us actually is a certain feeling of deficiency of the Creator. Yes. Thank you. PT5. Yes. Hello. Do we need to pray only in the moments where we feel like the prayer is erupting, or 3 times a day like the Kabbal's right mean? What does it mean to overcome in prayer actually? Overcome in prayer means to overcome to such deficiencies. In them I think how to bestow to the Creator. That usually I don't have. Yeah. And is that something that I'm supposed to seek every moment to have in me, or the Kaaba said 3 times a day, then I'm 3 times a day I stop and I do it. How I'm trying to understand this mechanism. Mechanism is simple. You have to be directed with your deficiency towards the Creator to try and bestow to him as much as I can actions that I will feel as necessary for me too. And then in that way, me and him will be as one vessel, also to bestow and also to receive. And I'm supposed to do that all the time. In certain moments seek certain peaks, or better to do it all the time, better all the time. Thank. Latin 1. How does the incorporation of desires work? Incorporation of desires. It's through the incorporation of the desires. What? Each one that feels a certain deficiency. If he wants, with his deficiency, to cause a change, a positive change, towards the created beings, he wants to connect with all the desires of all created beings and to pull them in one direction towards the Creator. And according to that, that's what all happened to him. Women Latin 15. Our deficiency is supposed to be for the quality of bestow and adhesion to the Creator, but how to come to it being a true one, in order to truly appeal from the depth of our heart to the Greater. As much as we're persistent about it, we'll feel from time to time that our desire is stronger and includes everything. PT 29. How to feel that the blows from the Creator are in mercy. For that you have to work more and more, and then gradually you'll start feeling that the Creator's blows always come out of His love and are always directed in mercy towards you. PT 31. To hold on to the deficiency demands a great effort sometimes. What's the value of this inner force to hold on to this deficiency? That I only want to be in one deficiency towards the Creator, and more than that nothing interests me. Then I am in His deficiency, and with His deficiency, I flow ahead. To hold on to this deficiency. Is that mean to bestow to the Creator? Depends what your deficiency you're talking about. The deficiency to feel Him. Yes, then, the deficiency to bestow to Him and the deficiency to feel Him become one. Woman, Alan, men, we can't hear you. Okay, they should check what's happening. There. Women Latin 26. Thank you Rav and thank you friends. Greetings. A question for my friends. How is it possible to reach forward as a 10 when constantly the evil is being revealed in the 10? So everybody together need to overcome against it until we're corrected, till we correct this bad tendency. And each one who is concerned, they will be connected nice and good to the 10. Feel how it becomes easier to think of bestow. Okay, woman must go 6. Women must go 6. You said that we need to try to bestow to the Creator in the 10. How do you distinguish where we're receiving for the Creator and where we're doing acts of bestow? According to what you understand, that's what you do. It will still bring you to the right connection between you and the Creator. Women Turkey. Women Turkey. How can a person be both in a lack towards the Creator and at the same time subjugate himself and surrender unconditionally, because he still doesn't have a connection, a healthy connection, that he also yearns for the Creator and also wants to receive from Him and also give to Him? He doesn't have those connections yet that are in such a reality. Then he is in a deficiency, in the feeling of a deficiency. 2 more that I need to let them speak. So first Tel Aviv 3. Thank you Raf. When I pray for the connection with a friend, how important is it to depict to myself that also the friend is praying for connection with me? That's important. What can I tell you? You think about it and you'll see afterwards, as much as your thought awakens the other side. Women Spanish. Dear friends, the question, how to come to know ourselves in the deficiency of the Creator, how to reach. We have to work in that to go deeper and deeper, to search for a deficiency, how we can bestow to the Creator. Okay, I'm sorry, but our lesson is according to the time has ended, and we will go to. We're moving to a summary of the lesson in the tense. Thank you very much to Raf. We're going to do a summary of the lesson in the tense. Please, very strong lesson. Also the recorded lesson was strong. What I'm taking, that we come from our internal place. It has to become a spiritual place to see how we can connect more and reach a common prayer with contentment to the Creator. He also recommended to pray twice a week and see how we can advance from that. Ahead. I was impressed from Raf himself, in such a state in the country and he was simply, truly, a remedy in medicine beyond the words, and his force, his power. It's truly impressive. And thank you. Great gratitude that we have a teacher and a group and we can connect to all the friends around the world. It's the parts of our soul which are the closest to us from around the world. For the lack to bestow to the Creator is our filling. It should be felt as our filling. And to hold on to this, we can, just if we just mention it, because naturally, the will to receive wants filling. But we know that the only thing eventually that we can bestow upon is our lack. And it's specifically through the environment. So, thank you very much friends. Mick is saying yes, it was a very powerful lesson. And the first part he related to never distancing from the Creator. The Creator never wants to distance us when we feel this way. It is only so that since the Creator wants us to come closer, like a child, that is enabled to make steps on his own. And on the second part of the lesson, what I heard is that we need to aim ourselves to the wave of the friends and the wave of the Creator, because this is the wave of giving, the desire to bestow. Yeah, I gave an example of an elevator that we have to incorporate in the group for that and raise a prayer. Those are the causes that lift us from descents to ascents. The wave of the Creator is to bestow to one another, to bestow to the Creator, to try and focus on that deficiency towards the Creator, how I could bestow towards the friends and towards the Creator, and make one vessel of all of that, bestowing between us and between us to the Creator. And we do it in a very big group of friends who are all connected from all over the world, wanting to be as one clay towards one light and one quality. Yes, we want to build between us. We really hope and pray that we bring contentment somewhat, and for Him to give us the forces to continue in this onwards, and to be aimed to be as one, and also to be towards bestow. So we will be together in this, all of us, is saying it's all about the connection between us, and then we can feel the greatness of what the Creator wants of us.